Hello and welcome to this opening day weekend edition of Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. We have games to talk about. Everybody has played at least two of their first series games. A lot of teams have played already all three of them. They're off today. Some were off yesterday. Some was off Friday. Crazy schedule right now. I think everything will be back on track. Regular schedule starting tomorrow. Or Monday.
You might tell the people that don't know. Most people that look at this know that we tape this on Sunday.
Yeah.
So when we talk about yesterday and today, we're talking about Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, because I mean, what usually happens is there's a weekend set: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes there's a 4-game set, which will include Thursday. But Thursday's usually a travel day, and Monday's usually a travel day.
Exactly.
You won't see a lot of games on those days, but you do see some. I was looking today, there's a lot this morning, and tonight's game, I think, is the Braves, and I forget what.
San Diego.
I think it's Braves in San Diego, and I forgot who's doing the Sunday night game. It's because, of course,
ESPN.
it's not ESPN. No, ESPN and them.
No, ESPN's still doing it this year. This is their last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I did see ESPN Plus, I think, is what we had it as streaming.
Well, I don't know.
Streaming on ESPN.
I seen the ad, and it was on ESPN.
Okay. So, because I know it's not a very nice breakup between the two. I was watching a little bit of an interview with the commissioner the other day on that. He's trying to be civil about it because, you always want to come back to ESPN, and that's the father of all sports channels. And, but I mean, if I was them, I'd keep up my relations with Fox and, ESPN.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a Tuesday night game on TBS this year.
TBS has, they have a lot of channels too. They have Max, they're owned by the same people that own Showtime, Max, Cinemax, TBS. I mean, they got a pretty large lineup.
Well, TBS and True TV have been showing the basketball.
CBS is with them. Yeah. So, I mean,
TBS is where they're going to have those Tuesday night games.
Good. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it before. People love baseball. The people that love baseball love the baseball game. I think it's a love that's unmatched in any other sport. And when people say they love football, it's usually like their team or whatever. It's not everybody's like my friend Brad that is like a savant and can tell you who's the third string linebacker for the 76, Giants. But
I can watch the NFL. I can watch any game in the NFL.
Right. Because you're a sports fan.
It's just I like watch baseball. I've seen several baseball games this week, and a lot of basketball, men's and women's, and just enjoyed every minute of it when I could.
Yeah, before we came on, I was telling Dad here that, I couldn't watch Thursday because my boss asked me to come into work later. We had some important stuff going on and shorthanded on second shift, so I missed opening day. I got to watch a little bit on my break and when I had some downtime, but he told me to, when I didn't have anything else, to just gotta find a quiet spot. But and then Friday, my Mets was on Apple TV, and it wasn't many games on, and so I was just trying to catch. I went to bed early. I was a little upset. So, I mean, I have the MLB package, and for Apple TV and Peacock and all these streaming services, I don't have Peacock. I'm thinking about getting it again because if they're going to have baseball and some other things I like to watch as well, like wrestling and stuff like that, along with Netflix. I have Netflix for free and MLB package for free. So I wish they put baseball on Netflix. That'd be awesome. But all these streaming services, I don't know if it's going to be good, bad, or just getting people ready for the future, what the future is going to bring. We talked about this last year in the off season, but trying to find your team on a nightly basis is hopefully, because baseball is such a local game. You know, it's a lot of people, like I grew up, I like Dallas, right? But that was because my generation I grew up in. I grew up in the Roger Staubach era. So I really like Dallas. My home team was Washington. They weren't very good. So, and Dallas was on every week. You know, I like Baltimore. Baltimore is probably my first favorite team, but I fell in love with a player and I followed him, and that's why I like the Mets.
We all have our reasons for liking teams.
Right.
I started out liking the Brooklyn Dodgers because I remember looking at my baseball cards before we even had TV, and I listened to the games on radio. Mm-hmm. And I had a picture of Duke Snider and Pee Wee Reese, and so I was a Dodger fan.
Right.
That's why I was a Dodger fan.
But now you used to be a Braves fan. We had Richmond Braves AAA team up the street, TBS
they were on every night.
And you were, you and your wife would not miss a baseball game. And you could watch them. And then they stopped being on TBS. We have Washington. You've always been a Baltimore fan. We've always had Baltimore on our
the Orioles,
local, right? But me and you've always leaned National League. It seems like my whole life, and the American League's kind of the second league to us. But I love the Orioles too. It's just sad I can't watch them on a nightly. I can't watch them unless they're on national TV. But you know, that I think it's more a localized game. And if they make it harder to find those local games, or start taking more and more like, we're going to have more national televised games, but they're going to be on these streaming services that not everybody has.
So I couldn't see the Orioles Friday night because they were on Peacock.
Right. And that's a bad move because we've talked about it before. On their local channels, they have a great viewing, right? I mean, we've talked about it before. They break records. If the teams are decent to watch, they're going to be watched, you know? I just, by doing this, I hope baseball's careful about what they're doing, because I think they're in a good spot. You know, people need to stop comparing them to football. Football's a 17 game season with a 1 game and die playoff system. Of course, it's going to get better ratings. And their Super Bowl is basically a national holiday. Even casual fans, for whatever reason, they done great marketing. If it's the halftime show, commercials, whatever. But baseball's okay. We're doing all right, you know. And I just don't want them to screw that up by putting more and more games on streaming services. I mean, at 79 years old, I'm 53, you're 79. I don't want to be an old man, get off my yard. I'm more, worried about finding the games. I mean, how do you feel about this at 79? Is this something like...
Well, I mean, I started out with radio. And then we got TV, and you had 1 game a week. And then they televised the World Series because that was the only playoff there was. I saw all the players that I heard on radio and had the baseball cards when I watched the All-Star game.
Right.
So that's when I got to see a lot of the players that I didn't see all the time because, we only had 1 game a week. So, I mean, and you didn't see they didn't show the Washington Senators because they weren't viable. So in the American League, you saw the Yankees, you saw the White Sox and Cleveland, and sometimes Detroit because those were the best teams in the American League. Boston wasn't very good. They had Ted Williams and nothing else. And in the National League, the best teams were the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Milwaukee Braves with Hank Aaron and Warren Spahn, and the New York Giants. And so the rest of the league was only so-so. The Cubs, the Phillies, the Pirates, they really didn't have much. The Pirates started in the early 60s. They started coming along with Clemente and Bob Friend and that bunch. I mean, they came along. But when I first started out, it's, and the St. Louis Browns. Well, I was listening to the St. Louis Browns game on radio. They became the Orioles in 1954.
Right.
And, so now I get to see the Orioles and I get to see the Nationals because they're on of the MASN Masson out of Washington and Baltimore. And so I get to see them. And I enjoy it because they're my two favorite teams per league. And I mean, I still like the Braves, but it's not like it. I'm a Washington fan first. Now
it's easier to follow them because you get to see them every night.
Yeah, I can follow them because I can see almost every game. Now, if they start streaming a bunch of games, then I won't watch them because I already pay so much for cable that.
That's my point. It's like somebody like like me. I don't have cable. I have streaming services, and I think this is where the generational separation starts. And I don't want them. I think I like to see their breakdown on who watches the most games. What's the age groups? It's because if they start screwing around and putting them on streaming services, and older people are going to go, well, if you make it hard for me to find the game, I'm just not going to watch. There's too much. I can watch other stuff. Murder She Wrote's on or something else. But that's an old person joke I was making. But anyway.
Hallmark Channel.
Huh?
Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
Big with the old folks.
There's something else, the Heroes Channel, something, History Channel is going to be talking about ancient aliens. Something's going to be else is going to be on.
Sure.
So, that's my point. Is like I don't want them to lose sight because I feel like NASCAR did that and it's kind of biting them in the ass now. But who is your key demographic and who are you trying to do this for? I think they're always looking for that 20s to mid 30s demographic, and I think they just need to stop and remember what got you where you're at, and that's it. It's okay to put it on streaming services, but just be careful on how. There's 162 games. I'll be okay. I'll get to see a lot of baseball this year in the Mets, and I got to see other games. I got to peek. I saw some very bad baseball, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And it looked like a little league game, and and maybe I'll watch a little bit more minor league baseball because they're starting to show more and more of that now on the MLB. If you have the package deals, so it's I gotta put, and then I got a AA stadium within a half a mile of my building if I want to go to a ballpark. So I have plenty to watch. I just don't want it to be too deep. When a person really likes their team, they don't want to watch somebody else. They want to watch their team. And I was disappointed Friday night. I know how I felt Friday night. It was a gut punch. When I went to go look at it, it's like, oh, you have to have Apple TV. I said, well, I guess I'm not watching this game, and pretty much went to bed. But let's get into the first weekend. That's enough about bitching, yelling at windmills. So,
first of all, last week I asked if Crochet. Now I thought I'd made a mistake. I thought Cease had been traded to Boston, but it wasn't. It was Crochet. I got it mixed up. And
Cease is still with San Diego, right?
Yes, he's still with San Diego, and I also thought that Gunnar Henderson had a bad spring. He didn't have a great spring, but Jackson Holiday had a worse spring. But he started out doing better with the regular season. They showed him today. They showed a breakdown this morning on MLB about he's changed his batting. He got rid of the big leg kick, and now it's just like a tap. It's just, and it's helped him. And the other thing is Gunnar Henderson does have an injury. It's an intercostal strain, whatever the heck an intercostal. I thought that was a waterway that ran up by Norfolk. And anyway,
the sound down in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, it sounds great. I mean, I've got a strained intercostal. Have no idea where it is, but it hurts like heck. Now, Cleveland's number 2 prospect, Chase Deloyer, has a core muscle problem, and David Fry has a messed up elbow. The A's, Andujar had core surgery, and Zach Geloff has a hamate bone problem, and he's having surgery.
Zach Geloff from UVA.
Yes.
Geloff brothers.
The Orioles, pitcher Tyler Wells has a bad elbow, and Chase McDermott has a lat strain. Lat strain. And Jorge Mateo's out with an elbow problem. Arizona, Jordan Montgomery has Tommy John surgery, so he's going to be out all. And he just had Tommy John surgery in 2018.
I was going to say this guy.
His age he's now done with the Diamondbacks because this is the last year of his contract.
Right.
But he probably will have to retire. Can't imagine anybody trying to pick up a 37-year-old guy after 2 Tommy Johns. But
let's hold on. Let's talk about this. So this was two years ago, right? Boras was trying to hold this guy out for his big contract, and MLB owners proved themselves right. This only hurts Boras in his players even more because he's been proven wrong. He held out last year. He held out with Alonso this year. It's a long season yet for Alonso, but I've talked about it before. I think he's just above average hitting first baseman. So, but anyway, as much as I love Pete Alonso, but that just proves again, if you're a Boras player, this is going to hurt you, I think. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's a good point. I mean, the last 2 years, he's got a couple of guys. Soto, he had the big contract this year, but the other guys, they had to settle.
Right.
And that's just the way it worked. I mean,
he's lost the money.
Well, Seattle, the Seattle team has used their head. They gave their best catcher in baseball a 6-year, $105 million extension, Cal Raleigh. He's the best catcher in the game. Who's never seen on these?
You think he's the best catcher?
Oh, yeah. Hitting, I'm talking about all around now.
Okay.
It might be a better defensive catcher, but this guy, his defense and his hitting is.
You think he's better than Adley Rutschman?
His hitting is yes. He hits for a higher average. Cam Smith, who was traded from the Cubs to the Houston Astros in the Kyle Tucker trade, made the Major League roster. The Angels signed Nicky Lopez to a 1-year deal.
And did you see how they announced that to Cam Smith? Did you see how that was announced?
No, I did not.
So they brought his family in, and they came into the locker room, and that's how his family.
Oh, yeah, the whole family. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you got a little clapping from the rest of the Astros, and it was pretty cool how they did that. Yeah.
Opening day, I settled back, and I thought that I sat down in my recliner, and I got up and looked around because I swore I sat in a time machine. And I thought I'd gone back 1 year because the Washington Nationals I watched were the same team they were last year. Now, Mackenzie Gore pitched 6 innings. He struck out 13 strikeouts in 6 innings.
Yep.
The only other time on the opening day that a pitcher struck out 13 was, he's not too shabby. Might have heard of him, Bob Gibson. He did it. So Bob Gibson did that. He's the only other one to do it. And then they after the 6th inning, they brought in the bullpen, and the Phillies took batting practice. And here, the Nationals in a microcosm. This is 1 inning. Now, 2. I have to admit, they came back and tied the game up 3-3, and went into extra innings, and then got bombed. Their bullpen got bombed. But I think it was the 6th. It was the 7th inning. They had runners on 2nd and 3rd, and 1 out. And I'm sitting there, and I said, "Well, this guy's going to strike out." I was right. He struck out. Now it's 2 outs. So now Ruiz, the catcher's coming up. He's already had a single and a home run. The first pitch, The first pitch was a curveball. I'm going to say it one time this year, and that's it. It's like the catch you with the knee thing. I'm not going to say it anymore. You can call it a sweeper if you want, but a sweeper is a broom. A curveball is a baseball term. Now, getting that out of the way. The curveball hit him on the thigh, and he swung at it. So instead of the bases loaded, he's got strike one. So then he hits a little dribbler back to the pitcher, and he throws him out. That is the Washington Nationals last year. That was their season in a nutshell.
They have a better lineup, though. I look at this.
They have a slightly better lineup, but they still have the same problems. They've got
their defense is going to be
their defense is pretty good, and their bullpen.
I saw the play that Cruz has already made one hell of a throw already this year.
Oh yeah.
So,
I'm not saying they're going to have as bad a year as they had last year. When I watched that, I said, this is the exact same team they had last year. Right. They just got a couple of different names.
Yeah. I get you. And I mean, I think a lot of – I think when they go up there, batters, and Ruiz has been around a while, but I think they're just pressing to try to get that win and run in sometimes. But I'm glad you brought up the swinging thing because I watched a few games. I watched the Mets. I watched the Marlins, Pirates, and some highlights. Hitters get into good hitters counts, and then they forget how to play baseball after that. It's like they're swinging all over the place. Even before you get one strike, you got a man on first. Why are you swinging at the first pitch if you know it's a ground ball? Even if it's a strike, the first pitch is to try to get you to hit into a ground ball. So, if it's you pick a spot and you drive it if it's in that one spot. You're taught that from day one that you play. That's why you hit off of a tee. I mean, but they just
I've seen baseball coaches that would get mad. They tell you take a strike.
Yeah,
and take a strike, then you get ready to swing.
Know what your job is when you go up there. It just seems like you brought up a great point with the guy on second and third. They lose their mind. They know RBIs is a big deal, and they want to get those runs in to win, of course. And I mean, they want to be the hero, and I think they just start pressing too hard. They want to jump on that first pitch, and that. I see games, and these are supposed to be professionals, and I get so angry when I start seeing a guy in a 2-1, 3-1 count swinging at an off-speed pitch. It might be a strike, but it's not. What are you going to do with it? You just spit on it and wait for the next pitch. So, I mean, it's easy for me to say I got to go to work to my 9 to 5 tomorrow, but But
well, I mean,
I'm a fan. I'm making a statement. That's what it is. So
yeah, I mean, if I'd have been a great baseball player, I might have gone somewhere, but I wasn't. I was mediocre.
I couldn't hit the curveball to begin with. So.
Well, anyway, Jackson Chourio, rookie he's for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now the Yankees played the Brewers this weekend, and they made the Brewers look like the Monterey Caballeros. I mean, of the Mexican League. That's what they look like.
Right.
This guy, Jackson Chourio, in the opening day, since 1901, this has happened one other time. He struck out 5 times in the game. 5. The White Sox, Ron Karkovice.
Somewhere right there.
Yeah. Ron Karkovice in 1976 or something like that struck out 5 times.
When you strike out more than they say, Joey Gallo hasn't even done this in a game.
Oh yeah, it's just
they need to revisit something.
Oh, and one other thing about the Orioles on opening day, Tyler O'Neill, for the 6th opening day in a row, hit his home run. So he's got the record for that.
Yeah, and he didn't get a cheapie either.
No, he didn't. Anyway, I forgot Max Muncy struck out 5 times in 2023. So for the Dodgers. All right. yesterday, Saturday's game. Let's just say Saturday's game, the Yankee game. When I wasn't televised, they hit 123 home runs in the first inning. The first three pitches were home runs.
Yeah.
The first three pitches were home runs.
There was a lot of history in that game. So
they hit 4 home runs in the first inning. All these
never been done.
Judge, he hit 3 home runs.
Right.
There were 9 home runs hit in the game.
So Nestor gave up the most home runs in a 6-inning game, and he didn't even last 6 innings. So he set that record. There was like crazy, like weird records going on, and but the thing is they won 20-9. It's not like it was an easy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean the kicker missed an extra point, and it was. I mean, I didn't see the game, but I kept.
And I guess the Yankees, some of the players are using a bat. I saw that MLB said it was okay. So I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, if you look at the history of bats in baseball, there's always been some controversy when a new bat is brought up. I mean, it's people's, and then they make a decision, they move on, and they go with it. An axe handle bat.
Look, if you don't like it. If you don't like it, buy the bat and use it on your team. I'm sorry.
There is. They haven't been using the same bats since the beginning of baseball. Go and look at them. They started out very, very, look close to the game that looks like it hits with the boat battle, but it was still a round bat. But still, it was, kind of had that same. Taping and all that. You look at the history of the bat, it's always been, players are going to find where the gray area is, and MLB make a decision. It's just the way it is.
I want to ask another question. How far is the pitcher's mound from home plate in Japan? I'm just curious.
Same.
The same as Major League Baseball here, right? Am I right?
50 feet 6 inches. Yeah.
Well, somehow or another, somebody's got to explain this to Sasaki of the Dodgers, because he figures his splitter is supposed to bounce 4.5 feet in front of home plate and hit the catcher in the mask. He had this problem in Tokyo when they were playing. He had no command. Well, yesterday it was the same thing. He didn't make it to two innings because he can't throw strikes. He doesn't. Right. Those 101 miles an hour, has no idea where the ball's going. Now, they talked about him when he pitched in Japan last year. He didn't have a problem with that. But now he can't, and he's only, 20 years old or something like that?
Yeah, he's like the youngest player to ever come over.
Yeah,
and I think now there's another player that's trying to come over before he even gets signed by a major league or a Japanese team. So he wants to come over.
I'm thinking he might be pressing because, it's the major leagues. But
yeah, he's not 20. He's older than that. But I think he's like 23, 24.
Okay. Well, anyway, he just he has command problems. But the Dodgers did win the game against the Tigers, and they're off to a 5-0 start. Now, let's see what happened. Oh, yeah. Colorado. And another record, ladies and gentlemen. Antonio Senzatella, 4 1/3 innings, 9. He gave up 9 hits, had no strikeouts, but they didn't score off of him. He gave up no runs.
So that's called scattering 9 hits.
Now, that's only happened one other time in the history of the sport. It was a couple of days ago. July 21st, 1922. By a Cardinal named Bill Doak. He did the same thing. Now, the Diamondbacks. Have you seen this Suarez kid in the highlights?
No, I have not.
He has a 3-game streak of home runs. One game he hit 2. The first game he hit 2 home runs. He hit a home run. He hit 2 home runs in the first game. The second game, the first time up, 2 pitches, son, right up under his chin. Purpose pitches. The third pitch was out over the plate. He hit it 397 feet.
Yeah, it was his purpose.
Don't rush the mound. Hit a home run. That'll shut him.
That's right. Yep.
Now, in the last 76 games that this young man has played, going back to last July, he has 28 home runs. That's more than anybody else in the major leagues. That's more than Ohtani. That's more than Judge. But he plays with the Diamondbacks, so you don't see him. Why not? In our part of the country, you don't see him.
I think we're going to see him later because I think they're going to be playing for something.
And my last little note here,
Padres and Dodgers, but Arizona is going to be tough.
I realized, I was rooting for the Nationals, and they were playing the Phillies yesterday. And there's two things came out of that game yesterday. One is the shortstop got scratched because he had back spasms. And that's once your back starts bothering you, that's not.
For which team? For who? Trey Turner?
Phillies.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner. He got scratched from back spasms. I don't know if he's playing today. The other thing is Luzardo, the pitcher for the Phillies, hadn't pitched in a couple of years. He had 13 strikeouts yesterday. So on Saturday. So I was rooting for the Nationals, but I was kind of glad to see this kid, come back and pitch well. I mean,
he's already made his rounds around the majors.
Sure.
For 4 or 5 years, just came up with the A's. So
yeah, and it's the Yankees are undefeated, and the Dodgers are undefeated. Boy, that's a shot. And the Orioles in Toronto, they're playing their 4th game today in Toronto. And the Orioles have won 2 and lost 1. Oh, Scherzer went out yesterday with that pinched nerve in his neck thing again. Why he doesn't retire? Well, he's making money, so why?
He wants the strikeouts. He wants 300 strikeouts.
And so he's
him and Verlander are trying to beat each other out when they should be racing in a nursing home somewhere.
Yeah. He and they ought to have a walker race around the parking lot. Verlander pitched yesterday too, and he did okay, but not anything spectacular. But that's all the notes I have for today. I've enjoyed it so far. There's been a lot on to watch. I mean, I've been watching March Madness, and the other night when I watched that Alabama, when they made 25 threes. I mean, they made 8 yesterday against Duke because Duke plays defense. But anyway, that's all I have for baseball. And I tell you, I don't expect much out of the bottom feeders this year. It doesn't look like the teams that were not very good last year are going to be much better this year. I will say this, and it all depends on injuries. But I expect a much improved Arizona team.
That Arizona team.
I picked them to finish 2nd in the West because here again, if they don't have the injuries, they'll be okay.
The Padres,
Padres good too.
Yeah, and I mean, and I said it before, if the Giants are in the hunt, they got the money to spend at the.
Last night's game, Machado swung the bat and. Something in his leg bothered him, so they took him out of the game. They said it was cramp, but who knows?
Right. Well, he's got some age on him now. He ain't a young man anymore.
No, I remember when he was a kid. I remember
he's not a 19-year-old rookie anymore. He's got some age on him.
One of the kids at church asked me, he said, Mr. Mike, how old are you anyway? And I told him, I said, well, I remember when Jackie Robinson was a rookie. He said, really? Jackie Robinson? I said, yeah, I was only a year old, though. I'm only joking. But I saw him play the last year of his career in the mid-50s after we got the TV. So I did see him play. And but I mean, that's how old I am. I remember, that when we talk about reminisce and talk about some of the old players I saw, to be able to see Ted Williams and Willie Mays.
That's the golden era of baseball.
It was awesome.
It's those guys were larger than life, and but that they were very good in that time period. That's why I don't like comparing this era with that era because it's 2 different eras.
And Bautista, they brought Bautista in the 9th yesterday. Even though it wasn't for the Orioles, wasn't a closer thing. They wanted him to get to work. and he was a little wild. He was a little wild, but he struck out 2 out of 3, and
Nice.
And he looked good, but he was a little wild. And you and I talked about it. The Orioles didn't add any pitching, and the 2 games they've won from Toronto, they just out hit them.
Right.
They're not trying to pitch a 2-hitter, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I mean that. Talking about my Mets lost 2 out of 3, but in any of those games, they never gave up more than 3 runs. So you're in a place to win all 3 of those. So our pitching is doing good. Our hitting is what's letting us down. Our last third of the order, but injuries is not helping. But
the other problem is that except for maybe the Yankees and the Dodgers are hitting the ball really well, most of the time it takes hitting a little while to catch up with pitching when the season starts. But this year,
you haven't seen cold weather and snow and really cold weather to start the season.
No, I turned the air on up here last night because it was 75 degrees now. It's 86. It's 82 out there now.
Right. Yeah. So it's warmer for whatever reason than usual, where you're usually still seeing, because I've always talked about wait till you got to wait till the apple blossoms in Washington for the ball to start carrying. This year might be a lot earlier.
The cherry blossoms are already blooming.
Yeah, the cherry blossoms.
The other thing I wanted to point out, I heard this the other day on MLB. They've scheduled something like 15 out of 20 games to start the season for Tampa in Florida in the Steinbrenner Stadium, which they did. They fixed that place up. It looks nice.
They took almost all the Yankee stuff down. Even they had Yankee towels in the jacuzzi room. They took them out and replaced them.
With the Tampa style.
Yeah, and
but they're playing them early down there so they can get some of the games out of the way before the heat of summer comes in. Because that's one of the problems they're talking about. The minor leaguers talk about playing in July and August and down there in Florida in A-League and in the rookie league, and it's blazing hot.
Well, they're going to have, Miami used to have to move their times back. They're going to have to play probably stuff 7:30. They're going to probably have to play 8:10 or something.
Well, I mean, but they play indoors, so
they didn't at the beginning.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
The other thing they're worried about in the summer is the thunderstorms.
Well, they know exactly what time. Well, not exactly. They know the window that the evening storms come. So that's the Florida, the Miami, when they first started, they moved their start time 30 minutes back because of that. They know the window. And also it helped get rid of the heat of the day a little bit. So, I mean, they know. And, I mean, I don't see Tampa staying down there much longer. And I think it's the best they probably move on. But, they did a good job to get it ready. And it's sad that stadium's probably about the right size for them, if not still too big.
Well, they sold out the first day.
Well, of course, it's opening day. And also all the stuff going on around them. People are like, oh, let's go support them, and we'll see how long that lasts. Because I was watching – who was I watching? Oh, I was watching the Florida Marlins in Pittsburgh, and you could hear people having – there was nobody at that game on a Saturday game. I was just like, Jesus, this is horrible. But, it is what it is. But before we take off, I wanted to also let you know but me and you are Pasquatch fans from the Royals. And I wanted to let you know I found out he was born in Virginia. He's from Virginia. So
I loved it. He's fun to watch.
Yeah. So I wanted to pass that on, and because with the kid from my high school playing for the A's and everything, I started getting back in. I collect baseball cards for people that watch this that don't know I do that. I think everybody watches this that knows I do that. I started looking at Virginia players because I picked those up, and he was on the list, so I was very happy to see that. But another reason
he's one of those players that he gets dirty walking out of the dugout to the plate.
Yeah, he's a dirtbag. He's
He
100%.
just that's the way he plays.
Yes.
That's his style.
Yeah. So you got anything else to add today?
Well, I got one little Yogi is he was playing golf, and he came up and he said, "Oh, well, I'll probably hit this ball into the water." And one of the guys he was playing with said, "Come on, Yogi, think positively." And he said, "Okay, I'm positive I'm going to hit this ball into the water."
Well, my last bit is the good thing is we're not talking about umpires today. With that,
Actually, I can't really.
no,
I can't
it has no reason to talk about umpires. So
no, I mean the games I've watched, the umpiring has been pretty good. I mean, as long as the umpire is consistent, I don't worry about that box.
Yeah,
if he's calling the ball that far inside a strike and he's doing it on both teams, it's a strike.
Right. So,
I used to umpire, I know.
But we'll leave you with that. So enjoy the games, watch them, enjoy. At least keep up with your team. If you have any questions or any comments, please let us know. Had some good comments from friends last week. So very, very interesting season to move forward. I think we're in another season where the majority of your teams are very even. So it's going to make for a fun season. A lot of 80 85, 86 seasons, whatever, 86 seasons. So it makes it fun to watch when that happens. You're going to have a handful of powerhouses and a couple of just, it looks like some poopers out there. But other than that, it's going to be fun. So until next time, subscribe if you haven't, and we will see ya.